Bikini Bottom is the only place on earth where you can be evicted from a box you don't even own. That's the actual plot of Can You Spare a Dime? Season 3.
That is not the plot of Can You Spare a Dime. That is a joke within Can You Spare a Dime.
She isn't built because Plankton needs superior tech.
Oh,
he needs a witness.
We got an AI animation there.
Built because Plankton needs superior tech. But if the relationship depends on features, it is temporary. Because there's always going to be a better version.
So it's not, wait. So it's not criticizing the existence of AI girlfriends. It's criticizing that people want to upgrade AI girlfriends. That's actually the argument. I have been requested to look at SpongeBob Diaries a decent amount. I see it often. And I've generally said, no, I like, they have 394 subscribers. Like they got 24 views on their post 3 days ago. Like I don't know what I can do to make SpongeBob Diaries' life worse than it already is. Like this channel's not going to be around for much longer, guys. It'll be gone before SpongeTruths, you know, like at least SpongeTruths, like SpongeTruths. Okay. So the reason that I cover these AI channels, SpongeTruths, No Villains Are Safe. The reason that I cover these channels is because people watch them. And I think that's a problem. Like that bothers me. It bothers me that people watch SpongeTruths. They've been getting pretty pitiful viewership lately, SpongeTruths. But like when I started covering SpongeTruths, well, it would have been this one, the SpongeTruths Bizarro Bottom video. Because the SpongeTruths Bizarro Bottom video ripped off my Bizarro Bottom video. And if you look at the videos that came out around this time, 8 months ago now, wow. I've been covering SpongeTruths for a long time. They ripped off Skin Theory, got 169,000, 159,000, 648,000. Like they were getting, like their lows was 40,000, maybe 35. There's 30. This is like the lowest one around then. But they were getting hundreds, 30 is like, these are like the lows as they get to 30s. And some of these have been around for a while. So some of them were probably lower when they first came out. But like still, these are some pretty crazy numbers for a channel that is of the quality of SpongeTruths. And we all know the quality of SpongeTruths if we're a regular viewer of the Jackson Finale podcast. But more recently, SpongeTruths has been tanking. And I think I've had something to do with it. I do. Ava too. Ava's been, you know, Ava versus AI. Ava trashes SpongeTruths as well. So I think that's raised awareness. I think a lot of people who didn't really know that SpongeTruths was AI or that they were, or even that they were bad. Like, cause you could probably watch a whole SpongeTruths video and not pay that much attention to it. Like that's certainly possible. So the reason that I cover SpongeTruths, the reason that I cover No Villains Are Safe is because people watch them. And I think that is indicative of a broader social problem that people watch SpongeTruths, that SpongeTruths gets views is a way for us to see that there is an issue with media literacy in the population. A world where videos of this quality can get over 1.6 million viewers is a world that is in trouble in just a little bit. It might not be the biggest issue on planet Earth, you know, like I'm sure it's not. I'm sure that there are bigger problems. This is the issue that I am drawn to. This is the issue that I think that I am uniquely equipped to handle. So it's the issue that I've taken on. So that being said, why would I cover SpongeBob Diaries? These videos are not working. They aren't getting people to view them. But I do think I've been convinced to cover SpongeBob Diaries from Ava's recent anti-AI video, Which AI SpongeBob Channel is the Worst. In the Which AI SpongeBob Channel is the Worst, Ava talked about SpongeBob Diaries, because Ava covers SpongeBob Diaries. But let's see, this is one on SpongeBob Diaries, and then they also did one on, there it is, AI SpongeBob Channel warns about AI. So Ava talked about SpongeBob Diaries. I didn't think it was bad that he covered it. I basically just said, like, at the time, I said I personally wouldn't cover SpongeBob Diaries because I don't think that SpongeBob Diaries is a problem. I don't think that they are indicative of a social problem. I think that they're just a dummy who doesn't know what they're doing, and that doesn't really lead to any social consequences. However, I have been convinced otherwise. I have found that there can be a value in criticizing SpongeBob Diaries. So as I criticize SpongeBob Diaries today, I'm not going to criticize it from a standpoint of how do people watch this, or why are people watching this? Why is this successful? What are the because it's not. But what I do want to do is I want to get into the psyche of a person like SpongeBob Diaries, someone who wants to be SpongeTruths, and why this channel fails and why this channel, at least for a time, succeeded. So something about SpongeBob Diaries that I think, and is probably the spiciest thing about them. Well, first off, they actually address the existence of AI. Like, that's odd, right? Like, there's no SpongeTruths video that acknowledges the existence of AI. At least I don't think there is. You know, and there are SpongeTruths videos. You've completely missed SpongeBob's political genius. We'll just talk about that one. Like, they did this. I talked about this one a while ago, you know, about how AI, like, teaching people about politics is silly. But in this one, in this video, SpongeTruths talked about SpongeBob and they compared it to real world politics badly. Again, you should check out my video on it. But SpongeTruths, something that SpongeTruths has never done is talk about AI. Like, there's never been a SpongeTruths video where SpongeTruths is like, and all of those other, there's a bunch of SpongeBob channels that use AI now. Like, isn't that odd? Like, which is something that you'll hear from, I think, most human SpongeBob creators would at least in passing say something like, ooh, you know, oh, there's all these AI SpongeBob channels now. Like, don't those suck? Like, even just as a one-off, if not having a whole video about it. But obviously, SpongeTruths isn't going to address the existence of AI because they use AI, so they don't want to mention it. But SpongeBob Diaries is bold that they say this stuff about, like, SpongeBob episode predicted AI girlfriends, or the one that Ava covered. This one was just about smart. It just was a crappy review of the episode Smart Artificial Intelligence. It's actually their only video that has, like, somewhat okay views. And even then, like, I guess for a channel of this size, 16K views wouldn't be bad, but compared to what came after it, it clearly was an outlier. But another thing that SpongeBob Diaries does, I guess it's trying to address, their videos really address social issues. Like, SpongeBob predicted that AI would replace your doctor. I haven't heard of this as a, like, social problem. Like, I know, like, there are people who, like, use AI for therapy, and, like, that's a thing, and, like, New York passed a law that, like, AI can't give medical advice or something. Like, they're trying to pass a law. I don't want to give misinformation. So I don't know what this is talking about, but, like, the fact that it's trying, or like this SpongeBob episode predicted AI girlfriends, you know, like the subject of, you know, just like these sorts of kind of hot button social issues is what they're trying to talk about. And I think that that's very odd especially because they don't exactly connect to SpongeBob episodes. I think the only way to really start to get SpongeBob Diaries, I think, which one should we watch? So their past couple of videos, 24 views 3 days ago, 49 views 10 days. YouTube is counting them out. Just completely. Another thing about SpongeBob Diaries, Ava pointed this out, so credit to Ava for pointing this out. In SpongeBob Diaries description, they used to say, we use, like, AI in the video making process, and they've since took it out. Let's do their most recent video. SpongeBob predicted you'll never own a home. Okay, let's say I didn't know this channel was AI. Let's say I didn't know anything about this. Predicted you'll never own a home. Well, that's a social issue that I can get behind. Home ownership is a big problem. Yeah. Yeah, there was a time where it was easier to own a home, and now it's not. I wonder why that is. And what does that have to do with SpongeBob? I could accept the premise of that. SpongeBob can be used to talk about social issues. I've done that on my channel. If you watch my Magic Conch video, my Magic Conch video is very much like that. Was a SpongeBob episode about religion. You look at the Magic Conch episode, you can compare it to real world political issues. This is a valid kind of content. Let's see how SpongeBob Diaries screwed it up.
A cardboard box. Squidward's living in a cardboard box in an alley.
A cardboard box. Squidward's living in a cardboard box in an alley. I guess you could call that an opening line.
And then the rent for the box goes up. The box gets repossessed.
And then the rent for the box goes up. Yeah, I think that's a joke, bro. I think that the joke is that he's so poor he can't even afford to live in a box. All right, you know, I shouldn't criticize too much 16 seconds in.
Bikini Bottom is the only place on Earth where you can be evicted from a box you don't even own.
Okay, so I guess like that premise of, because it is taking it too seriously. Like the joke is that Squidward is so broke that he can't afford to live in a box. Like it's not saying that Bikini Bottom has this like thing where you can't even live in a box or whatever. Like that's like clearly the joke. But like, I guess in the context of like a theory video, you could kind of be like, man, Bikini Bottom's really dystopian, you know, like maybe like you could maybe do like you could win me over on that as a theory. So I could kind of get where it's coming from that.
That's the actual plot of Can You Spare a Dime? Season 3.
That is not the plot of Can You Spare a Dime. That is a joke within Can You Spare a Dime. The plot of Can You Spare a Dime is Squidward moves in and with SpongeBob after he loses his job at the Krusty Krab and starts being a mooch. That's the plot of Can You Spare a Dime. What you're describing is a thing that happened in Can You Spare a Dime. That's not the plot. So see how like when you don't know what these terms are, it spreads the misunderstanding of what those terms are. Obviously this video got, I am the 26th, you know what's funny? There are more people watching this stream right now. There's almost 200 people. This is, there are 8 times more people watching this through my stream than watch the actual video. And of course, even with YouTube views, like 25 views, most of them clicked off after like 4 seconds of hearing the garbage voice. So let's talk about like SpongeBob Diaries as a creator. Like let's speculate. Who is SpongeBob Diaries? Who's behind the channel? Who is it? Is it perhaps a tech bro? Like, cause that's the general leading theory of who's behind SpongeTruths. It's definitely who's behind No Villains Are Safe is a tech bro. You can even see it's like some kind of like company or something with No Villains Are Safe. These content farms, they're run by these tech bros and they see AI and they see YouTube and they see people making YouTube videos as just another part of their portfolio. And I think it's safe to assume that SpongeBob Diaries is the same because they allegedly have an actual voice actor that isn't a AI voice. I find that kind of hard to believe. This voice sounds pretty AI to me. Like even more so than any of the other ones. I don't know. You can't really prove it these days. You know, you can prove when a voice is not AI because they don't sound like garbage. But if a voice sounds like garbage, it could just be AI. It could just be a garbage voice actor. Like, I don't know, you know, like this is the thing about plausible deniability, but like, but even so, they have to pay an editor to do this. Like, this is an 11-minute video, and it's highly edited. So they probably had to pay someone at least $100 for this 25-view video. So there's some kind of financing going on for SpongeBob Diaries. There's gotta be. It just speaks to kind of I think like what I would kind of just say to SpongeBob Diaries I'd be like, if you think that if you don't even know what like plot means, like to the point where you would call the cardboard box joke the plot of Can You Spare a Dime, you don't understand anything about storytelling or SpongeBob. Now, maybe the AI just spit that out. And if so, like the AI doesn't understand what a plot is, you know, like, and that makes sense that it wouldn't be able to identify what a plot is. Only a person can really do that. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm starting to see here.
Squidward quits the Krusty Krab in a huff.
Not anymore, Mr. Krabs. I quit.
So this is another just AI common thing with AI channels. Squidward quits the Krusty Krab in a huff, puts in footage of that scene when it's redundant, Whenever I put in footage from a scene, whenever you hear the characters talk in my videos, it's because I decided that it was absolutely necessary for the audience to hear what was going on.
And within a week, he loses his house, downgrades to a box,
and within a week he loses his house. So that's kind of a funny thing with like, that's definitely an AI thing. It doesn't say that does it say that it was a week? It definitely wasn't a week. It was way longer, because the way that SpongeBob addresses Squidward when he's homeless is as if they hadn't seen each other in a long time. Way more than a week, I would think. Yeah, this is just going to be a straight recap of Can You Spare a Dime? Well, maybe not, because it says it predicted you'll never own a home, so I think it's going to tie it into a broader political conversation. I think it just cuts to him in the streets with no time frame. I'm pretty sure that's the joke, yeah. A title card that says 1 week later would be way less funny than it just cutting right to him being in the box. So that's just AI adding a detail for no reason. Another way that AI spreads misinformation is that it will just add and then a week later, because AI thinks that sounds right, so it'll just put that.
People online have argued for 20 years that Mr. Krabs pays him so little that a single missed paycheck leads to homelessness.
No. People have not argued that for 20 years. I'm pretty sure that the explanation for why he's homeless is that it's a cartoonish exaggeration of how he couldn't keep his life together after being fired from the Krusty Krab. I don't think that's led to a 20-year argument about Mr. Krabs not paying him a lot. I think we know that Mr. Krabs doesn't pay. I mean, he pays a minimum wage. He's a cashier. Like, he shouldn't, like, that's kind of the point.
It plays like a gag.
It plays like a gag. It is a gag. It is a gag. It is meant to. So I do think that you don't always have to acknowledge something like what I said. Like, the point of the joke of him getting the box taken away is it is cartoonishly exaggerating how broke he is. That is why that happened in the story. So from there, you could take that overly seriously for the sake of a theory, or for the sake of something else to maybe make a broader point. But this is just doing it wrong. It's just doing it all wrong. Well, it's because it's AI. Like, AI doesn't understand like the nuance. So like, if there was a theory, the bikini bottom hyper capitalism theory or whatever, I don't know if it'd really be that great of a theory, but it's like, let's say that was a theory. And someone who is a skilled theory maker like Alex Bale made that theory, and they took that scene as evidence for that theory. I think that's something that a real person who would use that as evidence for a silly theory, or use that as evidence to make a broader point, would be someone who would understand that that moment is meant to represent something, and then in that they can comically choose to ignore it. Whereas I feel like with this, it's just taking it seriously as if that is that. And that's really the problem here. Or actually, I guess that would only apply to it being a theory. If you're trying to, because this video isn't a theory. This video is trying to make a broader point. It's trying to make a broader point about how Can You Spare a Dime has something to do with the housing market in real life, that the episode is making a commentary on the difficulty of owning a home. The episode isn't about that, though. If you compare this to my Magic Conch video. My Magic Conch video is a very similar kind of premise. I take a SpongeBob episode, Club SpongeBob, and I talk about how the things that happen to Squidward at the hands of the power imbalance that is created by the Magic Conch are the same things that happen to groups of people when religion takes power. This is a one-to-one comparison. The things that happen in the episode to Squidward are the same things that happen to real people in real life. You just replace not getting food, which is what happens to Squidward, with not getting rights, if you take it to real people, to marginalized groups who are hurt by religion-based policies. The problem with this one is that Can You Spare a Dime is not about that. Like, it just isn't. What happens to Squidward... In fact, Can You Spare a Dime is saying that the reason that Squidward is homeless is because of his own choices, because he made bad choices. He was arrogant and he quit the Krusty Krab, and then he mooches off of his friend, you know, like, so Squidward is in the wrong here. So the episode is not saying that, it's not making a comment on the housing market. That's not to say that the episode is pro housing market. It's not saying the system is fair and Squidward should be grateful for capitalism or whatever. Like, it's not saying any of that. The episode's just not about that. It's just an interpersonal story about two guys, and one guy is mooching off of the other because the one guy's in a bad spot. That's what the story's about. So you really just can't make this connection, but we'll see how they try.
Then you set it next to the number the National Association of Realtors puts out.
Set it next to the number the National... Okay, so we got a source.
And the gag goes quiet. They clock the median first-time homebuyer in America at 40 years old, an all-time high. A decade ago, that buyer was in their early 30s.
I don't know how true that is. Like, so I it could be. I mean, it's pretty bad. So I Okay, so it's saying that it's not a gag because, well, what is the age of a person owning a home have to do with the Squidward living in a box and the box being taken away? What is the connection there? Doesn't have anything to do with the age. He just had his cardboard box taken away. Squidward lost his house. Squidward was already a homeowner. So what does it have to do with not owning a home? The episode has nothing to do with buying a house. Squidward already owned his house. And it's almost, it's because it's a cartoon. Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense that Squidward would own a whole house when he's a cashier. Unless, I guess you could if you had some kind of like family money or something. But, even back in 1999, that wasn't exactly realistic. The reason that Squidward owns a house is just so that he would have a house, so that he would have a setting that he could be in the show. That's the real reason Squidward owns a house.
Redfin runs the numbers using census data and lands closer to 35. The realtors stand by 40. Every source agrees on one thing, the part nobody disputes, and that is the direction. Up.
Just going on and on. That is the direction. Up. Yeah, we get it. Just say people have to buy, like, just say houses are expensive, bro. Like, it's funny that it's like citing these sources, like, you don't actually need a source to offhand. I feel like if I was doing a video and I offhandedly said, yeah, like people are older when they buy homes now because of the economy. I feel like I can just say that, like there are things that need sources. I don't want to discourage like using sources to prove points. But like, come on, like it's clearly throwing these things in to sound better.
Squidward didn't slide out of the middle class because he was reckless. He slid because the gap between what he earned and what shelter cost had quietly become uncrossable.
That's not what the story is. Wait, that's coming out of nowhere. Source what? He lost his job, so he became homeless. This is not what happened in the episode.
Home to box to nothing. And the whole drop takes about a week.
Again with the week. Where do you get a week from? It's too extreme. So cartoons do that. Cartoons are all about extremes. That's what makes it easy for kids to understand. So I've been getting a lot of comments lately that I can't stand. I'm going to address this in a future stream. I'm going to address it really deeply. But I get comments all the time where they say, when I criticize modern SpongeBob, they say, it's a kid's show. And I always have the same response. If you comment this on one of my videos, you're going to get the same response because it's an easy response. And it's, why do you think kids deserve bad media? I say that to every single person who comments that because they never have an answer beyond that. It just traps them because there's no argument for it. Like all they can really say is, I think kids are dum-dums. And then I'll be like, okay, well, like I think that kids aren't dum-dums and that kids should have good media. Anyway, this is kind of an example of that. Squidward being homeless after having a job is a way that this can be a kid's show and kids can still understand that that's what the story is saying. If it was more subtle, like how it would be like, oh yeah, like Squidward is struggling financially now. Oh, Squidward has to cut back on his grocery bill every week. Like that wouldn't read to a kid. So you got to have him be in a cardboard box. So like the extreme that it's trying to say is like evidence of it having some kind of bigger, broader thing. It's just not a proper connection. And it actively harms the ability to have a deeper discussion because no one's going to really be able to take you seriously if you don't actually properly make the arguments.
He moves into SpongeBob's pineapple and becomes a permanent house guest. First-time buyers used to account for roughly half of the market. This year, they're 21%, a record low. The people still buying homes are mostly those who already have one, and
Okay, so it seems like, so like here's what just happened. It just described a part of the plot where it said Squidward moved in with SpongeBob, became a permanent house guest. And then it says this completely unrelated thing about how 79% of people who bought new homes are people who already owned homes. And like, yeah, that's a problem, but it's got nothing to do with SpongeBob. Like, just make a channel where you talk about political issues then. Make a channel where you talk about the economy, like, or find an episode of SpongeBob that actually ties into this. There might not be one. Why are you talking about the plot of Can You Spare a Dime and then talking about social issues with housing? These things are not connected.
And everyone else is on the couch, calling it temporary, the way...
And everyone else is on the couch. No, they're not. They're renting. That's the problem. The people who don't own homes rent homes. They're not comparable to Squidward. Squidward is living at his friend's place. He's not paying rent.
Notice who funds the rescue. It isn't a job. It isn't a bootstrap. It's SpongeBob's generosity, an existing homeowner absorbing the cost for someone who couldn't make it on their own.
I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. Wait, what? SpongeBob chose to take him in because he was his friend. What are you talking about? What is that even a connection to? Are you saying that SpongeBob is like the landlords? And the landlords are the victims because people live in their place, but people pay them to live in their place. And it's not out of generosity that landlords have people live in their places that they own. This is why people don't watch them. Like, this is incoherent. You know, if we look at SpongeTruths, like, SpongeTruths videos can be incoherent. They can be. Like, let's talk about, you know, like this one that we did, what SpongeBob characters are actually doing in the background. All this video is, I covered it, it's my most recent SpongeTruths video. All that this video did is it just recapped the existence of certain background characters. That was the whole video. And that's bad content, sure, but it doesn't not make sense. So like, that's why this is able to get, I mean, it got fewer views. I think that this got fewer views because people are starting to know that SpongeTruths is AI, so less people are watching him. I think that that's really the reason why this got fewer views. This video's quality is no worse than videos that got 600,000 views. It really isn't. And I say that saying that these videos didn't deserve high views, not that this video deserved better views. You know what I mean? But like, this video is no worse than any other SpongeTruths video. There is something that SpongeTruths understands enough about YouTube that allows them to survive. And SpongeBob Diaries, they just don't get it. They just think that, I think what it is that SpongeBob Diaries, whoever's behind it, they think people want to watch SpongeBob stuff and people care about big hot button topics like the housing market. And it just puts those things together and it doesn't have any understanding beyond that. And that's what makes SpongeBob Diaries not a threat. And that's what makes SpongeTruths a threat, is that they understand that. But yeah, the most recent SpongeTruths video is a 3 hours. You notice this? It's a to fall asleep to video. It's funny because I just did one. I just did my own to fall asleep video. I did two recently. I did one on, look, 10 hours of destroying SpongeTruths to fall asleep to. And it's the same shot too. Isn't that funny? Should I watch the 3 hours? It's probably just a compilation, right? Is robot voice fine? There is an Ice Age YouTuber that uses a robot voice to communicate because he does not want to use his real voice. It is not AI and is not bad either. What, it's like a GPS voice or whatever, or like a Stephen Hawking voice? I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think at that point it's just bad content. Like, I think that's not exactly immoral. Because like, you hear it and you know it's not trying to be a person. I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't sit and watch a video that has a text-to-speech voice. Like, I think just whoever that is, I think they should get over whatever it is that makes them not want to use their real voice. Or if they genuinely can't speak, they should hire a voice actor and they'd probably be better off. Just for them and their channel. I'm not really, I don't really have a moral comment on it. I just think that whatever their channel is, they're shooting themselves in the foot. I'm so on the bottom of my box here. I need to lower my camera a bit, I think. Okay, what were we talking about? Oh yeah. AI Squidward in a box.
A literal golden gate.
Squidville.
The happiness, I'll be moving in now.
Are you alone?
No, I mean, yes.
Are you now, or have you ever been a sponge?
No.
No
Wait, is it tying in?
sponges, no starfish, octopi only.
Wait, what does that have to do with you'll never own a home? It was talking about like how baby boomers own all the homes or whatever. That's based on, species. I think it's supposed to be Squidville. Okay. Squidville is often, I would say, misinterpreted to be about racism. I don't think that Squidville is about racism. I think that SpongeBob and Patrick being a sponge and a starfish represents a kind of person, personality-wise, that they don't want in Tentacle Acres. And you can go from there, racism. I'm not saying that there's no racial story in Squidville that you can get about how sponges and starfish are not welcome in Tentacle Acres and how all of the people in Tentacle Acres are squids or are octopus, actually, because Squidward, but octopus. Like, it is a part of the story, absolutely, but it's not the main part of the story. Squidville is about Squidward living in one place and learning that it's better to live where he lived before, because where he lived before had different people in it. And for that, you can apply that to racism. But that's not the main thing that the story is about. Whereas like Squirrel Jokes is an episode that is about racism. The story is about racism. The story should not single out a certain group and mock them based on their, in Squirrel Jokes, it's species, but in real life, it's race or ethnicity. Or any other characteristic, really. But Squirrel Jokes is mainly about racism.
The product isn't the house. The product is the wall between you and the people who got priced out.
What? What are you talking? It's up priced out. SpongeBob and Patrick can't live there because they're a different species.
And here's the part the episode quietly nails. There are only so many of those houses. Tentacle Acres is finite, fenced, fully built out.
They didn't say it quietly. They didn't say that at all. That's not a plot point in Squidville. That there's a finite... Who knows that? You don't see the whole place. Maybe they're building more somewhere. What are you talking about?
Squidward squeezing into the last identical unit on New Live Street is the whole supply crisis in one shot.
This actually is pulling from nowhere. That's okay. This is another thing. This is another reason why this channel isn't doing well. It's pulling this from nowhere. Like, at least with SpongeTruths. And here I am. I'm like talking about a sponge. When I say that SpongeTruths does it better, I mean that SpongeTruths is bad, but SpongeTruths is successful. So the reason that SpongeTruths is successful is that they are not that incoherent. SpongeTruths has never said anything that is that incoherent. That is that not related to the episode, which means that there has to be some kind of discretion on SpongeTruth's part to go through the AI scripts and do something with it. This is actually almost kind of proof that AI can't just write a script on its own. In order to get one over on people by using AI to like produce content faster, you have to actually go through and use some discretion, because this is what happens when you don't use any. When you just use the script that it spits out at you. Now, obviously, you shouldn't use any AI in anything. Generative AI has no place in making YouTube videos. I would never use AI in my videos, and it's not even a principled thing. Like, I don't not use AI in my videos because, oh man, like I'm so against it morally. Like, because that sets up a narrative where it's like, yeah, AI would really help me. Like, I would be able to make videos. So I'd be able to make 3 videos a week like SpongeTruths, I guess, used to. SpongeTruths has not been posting that much lately, but SpongeTruths would usually do 2 or 3 videos a week. Oh, I could make 3 videos a week like SpongeTruths. I just choose not to because I'm so noble. No, my videos would be trash if I used AI. That's why I don't use it. All right. As much as I want to take credit for being so noble for not using it, I don't use it because it's garbage, because it doesn't help, because my brain is better at making videos than a robot is. But for these people, these tech bros who own SpongeTruths, and definitely whoever runs SpongeBob Diaries, these are people where they are incapable of making something meaningful. And it's their own fault. I don't feel bad for them. They could learn. There are ways they could learn. They're not interested in learning because they don't care about these shows. They don't care about the things they're talking about. They don't care about the arts. They only care about it being another part of their portfolio. And they see that, oh, YouTube makes SpongeBob videos. You can have AI write SpongeBob videos, and it puts them in the running. I think there's something comforting in the fact that you can still fail in doing that. I think that's something that is comforting about SpongeBob Diaries, and why I think it was good for me to cover them today, is that when we look at SpongeTruths, we can sometimes think, oh man, look at SpongeTruths. They just say, AI, write me a video, and then they have an AI voice a video, and they got to pay someone to edit it, but it basically works on their own. There is a person out there with no talent who's getting one over on everybody else. And in a lot of ways, that's true. In a lot of ways, SpongeTruths is getting one over on others. And it's why I try to ruin their channel with my streams. It's why I do that. It's why I'm glad that I'm seeing them getting fewer views. It's why I hope I can take credit for the fact that they're getting fewer views. But there are barriers to entry. And there are things that these AI channels have to do in order to get views. And those things that they have to do require some level of talent when it comes to understanding what people want to see. Am I saying that SpongeTruths is talented? No. I am saying that there is a weird medium where people who make this AI stuff have to have some understanding of the arts in order to get one over. And I think this is why we don't see that many AI channels. I'm something I'm noticing in doing this. When I started covering AI channels, when I started covering SpongeTruths, I thought that SpongeTruths was going to be one of 100. I thought that there was going to be so many SpongeTruths. I thought that when I was going to start doing streams, that just about all of my streams, my expectation going into this was that all of my streams were going to be a different AI channel. That was how I thought that this was going to go, is that it was going to be a different channel every time, because my perception was that it would be so easy to make these AI channels that there would just be no shortage of them. They would be everywhere. Guys, there's not that many. There's really not. If we look at Ava's which AI SpongeBob channel is the worst. So this is Ava's tier list of which AI SpongeBob channel is the worst. You'll see it's very funny. He has F, F minus, F minus minus, F minus minus minus, and F minus 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 minus. Cracks me up. This is a great video. You should watch it. So if we look down here, there are 7 channels. 7 channels that Ava ranked on this which AI SpongeBob channel is the worst. There's our old pal SpongeTruths. No Villains Are Safe. Scribble. No Villains Are Safe and Scribble are basically the same channel. Just on 2 channels, but they do the same thing. This is Abyssal Tunes. I was going to do an Abyssal Tunes stream. They haven't posted in 8 months. Their thumbnails are absolutely vile. Like, I genuinely, if I ever covered Abyssal Tunes, I would need to take a screenshot of their channel page, and I would need to censor some of their thumbnails, because I just cannot in good conscience show that to my audience. They are that gross. But Abyssal Tunes hasn't posted in 8 months. SpongeBob Diaries is on the list. SpongeBob Diaries is a joke. They don't count. Cartoonology is failing. Cartoonology's got like 80 views on their last video or whatever. And then there's SpongeBob Universe. Like, these are not real channels. They don't do anything. These channels are not popular. And these were like the top ones that Ava had in his video. Like, they're really failing. And sometimes we've had this idea that like, oh, AI is taking over SpongeBob YouTube. And there was a time where that was something to be concerned about. And I think we're kind of moving past that. I think we're moving past that a little bit. And it's putting me in a strange spot of what should I really be talking about with this stuff? Because I think the social issue of AI channels being popular, I think it's kind of past. I think we've weathered the storm. I think the world has said no to these channels. And I think SpongeBob Diaries failing is just another part of that. This isn't to say that the fight is not over. This isn't to say that bad content doesn't still exist. I think that of all of these channels, SpongeTruths, I think, is on their way out. It could make a recovery. Really, I think No Villains Are Safe is like, they're the threat, I'd say. I'd say, and by the way, No Villains Are Safe hasn't posted in a month. I don't know why. Scribble has been posting consistently lately. I don't know what's going on with No Villains Are Safe. But I think No Villains Are Safe is kind of the most dangerous kind of content. There is a possibility that No Villains Are Safe doesn't use AI. I think they do. Blue Shell Player, like there's stuff with it. But really the problem here is just shallow content. Shallow content that people want to watch. And SpongeBob Diaries doesn't fall under that. They really don't. This is not content that people want to watch. No Villains Are Safe is dangerous because they are the type of person or company or whatever that doesn't care about their audience, that has contempt for their audience, that just is meant to waste their audience's time with whatever is going to keep them watching videos. And they also understand what people want to see. And that is a dangerous combination because it leads to bad content that people still watch. It leads to a video that I'm sure amounts to just a bunch of recapping of episodes of Family Guy and The Simpsons that vaguely have to do with the main characters' jobs and get 136,000 views, which I guess wasn't enough for them because it looks like they're quitting. I don't know. I can't call it just yet that No Villains Are Safe is done for. It's very weird that they haven't posted in this amount of time, in 4 weeks, when they haven't really been on the down low. You know, like if SpongeTruths suddenly stopped posting, I'd kind of be like, I get it. They've been on the down low. That's them giving up. What did someone tell me to look at? Patrick Theory? They have 113 subscribers. Their most popular video is 2.5K views. How long have they been going? 2 weeks ago. Oh, they just started. The Patrick Star Theory. Who is Patrick? They're trying to the white thumbnail meta. Dude, we're like so done with that. Deep diving into conspiracy theories hidden behind Patrick Star. How does Patrick survive with no money? Sure, I guess in the spirit of looking at trash channels, let's see. How does Patrick survive with no money? Let's see. Why not? It could be good for a laugh at the very least.
Patrick says something that most people let slide right past them.
Look at this background. Why are there arrows pointing at all of the... It's like this background was made for another kind of theory that's saying like whose houses are these? And they just didn't realize that it had arrows in it. This is so weird already.
He looks at SpongeBob and says, "My landlord changed the lock again."
Does he say that? Patrick says he has a landlord in that episode. I never noticed that.
Patrick has never, in any episode, been shown earning in any reliable way. So how is that rent getting paid? And if it is not, how has Patrick not...
Look at this. This has got to be an AI image. This is crazy. Voice doesn't sound like AI. Yeah, it doesn't, but it's just very boring. Like it's like, I guess it's trying to do like an Alex Bale theory, but it just does not have that same oomph of the theory.
Patrick does not have a job. The show has told us directly across multiple seasons. In the season 2 episode Big Pink Loser, trophies, and he has none. Not one.
No trophies. Pointing to the trophies. How do people like actually like look at this and be like, this is okay to put out there? Like, again, like this is like kind of I don't know anything about this channel. Someone just randomly recommended me, but like, I don't know. Let's even give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's say this one's not a tech bro. Like, let's say there's just a random guy who just like discovered AI and it's like, yeah, have AI write me a script about like SpongeBob. Like, how are you so delusional that you can't look at this and see that there's something wrong with it? Like, if you watch like maybe like my earliest videos, you can see that there's like, the editing is like not as finalized. You know, there are things that I learned about editing that were a little better. Things I learned about, you know, like audio and filming and stuff. But at least like if you look at my earlier stuff, you could see that like compared to more established like just watch any YouTube video and then look at your own video and be like, yeah, this like doesn't have the things that make people want to watch content. Like I don't get it.
He spends the whole episode directly copying SpongeBob's movements, mirror image, gesture for gesture, unable to produce.
Patrick mimicry, SpongeBob origin. How do these decisions get made? Just put in the footage from the episode. Like, what is this? This is more work. It's more work to do this with all this crazy editing stuff.
But the clearest evidence is season 5, the episode Pat No Pay. Mr. Krabs brings him the bill, and Patrick reaches into his pockets, checks everywhere, searches himself thoroughly, and comes up completely.
What are you talking about? He just says, I don't have any money, reaches everywhere. It's actually very similar to SpongeBob Diaries. Like, are we kind of seeing the comparison? Like how when you have AI go right from AI to recording, it's like it makes up little details. Like this is the stuff that people are using to get ahead on YouTube. Like this stuff doesn't help you. Guys, like I think it's not even so much, I say that like, you shouldn't use AI because it's like bad or something, but like it's literally not going to help you make content. Like it just doesn't. It just does not.
Ordered 50 items and genuinely had no plan for how any of it would be paid for because
What is this image? What is this image? Look at this. How does this even happen? This is just a screenshot from the Krusty Krab training video. I would know I used this shot in one of my videos. Why wouldn't you just use the original shot? Look at SpongeTruths over here. SpongeTruths cameo, guys. SpongeTruths cameo. So this whole thing is, how does Patrick survive with no money? So this is a theory video, right? It's a theory. So here's a common pitfall with a lot of theory videos. So I'm actually currently writing a theory video. I am going to formally announce the upcoming Jackson Finale SpongeBob theory video, the Twinkle Twinkle Patrick Star theory. I am looking to produce a trailer for it. If you're watching this on Jackson Finale podcast, the trailer should be done and it should be linked in the description and you'd be able to go watch it. The Twinkle Twinkle Patrick Star theory. It's going to be based on the episode Sing a Song of Patrick, how the background fish became an angry mob at Patrick's song, and how their overreaction to Patrick's song, which let's all be real, guys, is a great song. I mean, if you ever listened to Twinkle Twinkle Patrick Star, it's a little silly with the lyrics, sure, but like, song slaps, Why are they so worked up about it? Well, I think I have come across an answer, but you're going to just have to wait for the actual theory to drop for that. I did always kind of like the episode, but it feels like it has a bad lesson to me, as if it's telling children that if they aren't instantly good at art, they should just give up. I address that. And that's why I want to do this theory, because I feel like the theory of the Twinkle Twinkle Patrick Star theory, it's a theory that I would do, because I always said that. People said, Jackson, would you do a SpongeBob theory? Would you do like an Alex Bale SpongeBob theory kind of thing? Well, I had always said no, because the way that SpongeBob theories work is that they take the episodes really seriously, and they kind of they just do a lot of stuff that I don't usually do in my videos. My videos are about looking at the story and how the story succeeds and why the story succeeds. So what I had said is that if I was to ever do a theory, it would have to be a theory that is like my content, like what I make. And this one is like that. The reason I wanted to discuss my theory that I'm going to be making is that I'm having a little bit of experience with writing a theory. Or what a lot of these AI channel theories do that we're seeing here is it takes a premise, how does Patrick survive with no money? And then it lists multiple episodes that say the exact same thing. So like it goes, in Big Pink Loser, Patrick doesn't have a job. In Pat No Pay, Patrick can't pay for Krabby Patties. Okay. That doesn't add anything. That doesn't add to the theory. We already know that he doesn't have a job because of Big Pink Loser. We don't need the Pat No Pay. And in my theory, every episode that I bring up that is a part of the evidence for the theory gives you a new piece of information that leads into it. SpongeTruths did this with the What If Mr. Krabs Has a Fetish video, where it's like, it was like 5 examples in a row of episodes that show that Mr. Krabs is cheap. It's like, we already know this. So that's what is going on here.
it is revealed that what Patrick has been calling his house for the entire run of the show is actually the shell of a sea turtle named Tony.
All right, so it's bringing up that the rock is a sea turtle, which of course was just contradicted in Home Away from Home. People have been commenting about that on my Home Away from Home video, where they went back to it just being a rock and not being a turtle. So that's a whole thing. So it's saying that if it's a turtle, he couldn't have had a landlord. That's kind of another thing too, when you do theories, you don't really want to bring up something that like completely shatters the original theory. Cause yeah, if it's a landlord, I mean, I guess there'd be I guess the landlord could not realize that it's a turtle shell either.
In season 5, sing a song of Patrick. Patrick's
Hey, sing a song of Patrick.
and instead of figuring out how to get the entry fee himself, he just takes SpongeBob's money.
Why would you generate an image of Patrick taking money when look at this Mermaid Man over here? Mermaid, am I covering Mermaid Man? Look, Mermaid Man. Look at SpongeBob has no face. Why would you generate this? There is action in the episode where Patrick takes the money. Just put that in.
He takes the comic book money SpongeBob was about to spend and puts it toward his own goal.
Look at this. This is more work.
Bob's money. He does not ask. He takes the comic book money SpongeBob was.
This is more work to do this. There's shots of the show of this. Why are you doing this? Just remember, like, the people who use AI are the same people who, like, would make a decision like that. Like, these people just have no concept of the arts. And I think that that's something that we could take a lot of hope in, is that the people who, like, think that AI works in the arts, that AI will assist you in making content or in making movies or TV shows, like, they're the same people that don't know anything about those things. So a lot of stuff is going to get self-corrected with this. You know, it's important what I do, and that I like tell, you know, I make people informed on it, make people informed against it. It definitely helps. But like, I think that that should just give us a lot of hope, you know, on just that, like, this is really the extent, you know. We all think that, oh, AI channels, there's 100 SpongeTruths out there. There's really only one SpongeTruth out there. There's really just, there's a couple that are like, no villains are safe. All right. No villains are safe is a bit of a problem. Sure. They're out there. But most of it is this. It's not taking over YouTube.
It and destroys SpongeBob's house when it airs.
What does that have to do with him being broke? He just said in Pat No Pay, he didn't have enough money to pay for Krabby Patties. In Sing a Song of Patrick, he takes SpongeBob's $100. Okay. Like, you're saying the same thing. So here's the structure. We're almost 6 minutes in. There's only 2 minutes of this video left. And it's just been talking about times where Patrick was broke, and maybe briefly talking about how his house has a landlord or it's a turtle.
Where everyone around him, SpongeBob especially, quietly absorbs every cost he generates. SpongeBob.
It's not really a groundbreaking discovery. You need a more punchy, like, conclusion to that, you know? Like, what are you even doing, bro? But you said at the beginning of this video that he has a landlord. Does SpongeBob pay his rent?
His house turned out to be borrowed from a turtle who was asleep.
Oh, wait, did it say that the turtle pays the rent? I was kind of not paying attention.
Which means either the rent is being paid or nobody can figure out how to evict a starfish.
No, he's not saying anything. He's not explaining how he pays the landlord.
While Mr. Krabs pinches every cent and still sleeps on the floor of his restaurant. While SpongeBob...
What? Again, AI making stuff up. What are you talking about? Mr. Krabs has a house. He doesn't sleep on the floor of his restaurant.
Patrick has discovered something that every economist, every financial advisor is trying to tell people. He has eliminated every cost he can push onto someone else and kept only the ones that come with no bill attached. His life...
I don't think financial advisors tell you to moosh off your friends. I don't think that's how they work. Like, I don't think that's their main advice. That doesn't make a lot of sense. They're just like SpongeBob Diaries. Like, they're all going to fail. Like, Patrick's Rock isn't what you think. He's so, oh, Patrick theorists. They're all Patrick videos. I just realized that. Yeah. So like, this kind of gives us a idea of, you know, like, when we think of AI channels, we think of SpongeTruths. You know, we do. We think of the SpongeTruths because that's the ones that we see. These are the ones that break through and get lots of views. But most AI channels are like this. This is probably the vast majority. Just people who don't know what they're doing. Because that's the whole point of AI. Is this people who don't know what they're doing. If they knew how to do it, they would be me. This is what a channel looks like when someone knows what they're doing, when someone knows how to talk about a show, when someone knows how to present ideas to an audience, when someone knows how to take things that they are thinking in their brain and write it in a way that an audience can understand it, to the point where enough of them will watch to the end that they'll get high view counts. That's what I do. If you understood how to do that, you just wouldn't use AI. And there's a weird middle ground where sometimes there's a SpongeTruths. Sometimes there's a person who cares little enough about what they put out there, but cares just enough about it working and understands just enough of how to make it work that they become SpongeTruths, that they become no villains are safe. But even then, what do they really get out of it? They eventually fail. They put in all of this. They get all of these views. They get multiple million view videos. And yet this is no one's favorite channel. This has no cultural impact. This has no change on how people view SpongeBob, on how people view stories. I think even with my 20,000 subscribers, I think I've had some kind of a tangible effect on how people view stories because the things I say actually matter. To close this off with SpongeBob Diaries, I feel like the promise of this stream is I have to watch a weird one, right? I have to watch a weird one. I can't do the drone one because Ava did that one. That's not fair to Ava. Watch Ava's video on it. If you're curious about the drone one, you know, he did that one. I need to do another weird one. I'm going to go with this SpongeBob episode predicted AI girlfriends. I think that that's a fun one. That's going to be silly. That'll be silly. Maybe we could talk a little bit about AI girlfriends along the way, huh?
In 2012, Plankton replaced his wife. Not an upgrade, not a repair. That was sleeker, faster, and more attractive.
Karen too.
Okay, so already the premise is strange. So this SpongeBob episode predicted AI girlfriends, and it uses Karen 2.0 as a example. But isn't just the existence of Karen as a character predicting AI girlfriends? Because that's like the joke. I did a video on this about is Karen AI, where I discussed how Karen is a strange character in SpongeBob now that AI is like a thing. Because in 1999, it was just funny, where it's like, yeah, the evil genius has a computer wife. Well, I guess Karen wasn't his computer wife in 1999. It wasn't really a thing until season 3 that she was his wife. But actually, she was always supposed to be his wife because she was always named Karen, but it wasn't ever said until, I think The Algae is Always Greener is the first episode where it actually says Karen is his wife. Before that, I think she's just a regular computer assistant. Karen's very existence is already kind of in that vein. Like, you can have a discussion about AI using Karen. I did. I made a video, is Karen AI? Like, I had a whole video about it. And also, Karen kind of isn't AI. Like, Karen's not AI in the way that Karen's not an LLM. Karen is portrayed as being alive. But yeah, I think it's odd to use Karen 2.0 of all things, because it's not really... Karen 2.0 is more so about, like, you know, replacing the person that you're with, you know, like how Karen 2.0 is like a fine episode. Like, it's okay. I don't think it really leans too much into its themes that much. I don't know. It was a while since I watched it. I watched it to research the Is Karen AI video, and then I didn't even end up talking about Karen 2.0 in that video because I felt that Karen 2.0 had so little to do with the broader discussion. So it's funny that this video about AI girlfriends and Karen is using the episode that I decided wasn't good enough for that subject. Just shows how SpongeBob Diaries and I have different approaches to content creation.
He threw the original away like last year's phone.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course they had to do this. Trying to do the provocative stuff. Should have done that in the thumbnail. Why didn't you put this in the thumbnail? Why'd you use that? Like if you're going to do it, if you're going to try to do the provocative whatever, at least put it in the thumbnail, dude. Like, you're going to get this image and you're going to save it for 22 seconds into the video where most people have already clicked off. Come on, man. Like, at least know how to do it. At least when SpongeTruths called Susie Groove a stripper, at least he knew to put it in the thumbnail. Like, look at the thumbnail of his video. Oh, you know what's funny? AI can't make Karen. I'm serious. Try to tell AI to make Karen. This is what it does. Like, these like fake computers right here. That's what happens if you tell AI to make Karen. AI can't make Karen. It's just one of the SpongeBob characters that it just does not generate. I don't know why, but AI can't make Karen. Try it. Try it. I mean, don't try it because it's going to waste water. Just take my word for it. Here, I'll tell you what. So you don't go waste water. Watch, I'll show you. Make me a YouTube thumbnail criticizing the SpongeBob episode Karen 2.0. I'm doing this so that the people in my audience won't get curious and do it and waste a bunch of water. This is damage control. This is damage control. This is so we don't waste water. Oh, that's a different one. Hold on. But see, it still can't do Karen. It still can't do Karen. Make me a YouTube thumbnail about the history of the character Karen from SpongeBob. Come on, give me what I'm looking for. Stop wasting water. Look, here it is. Here's kind of an example. See how it's the same sort of thing? See how it's also kind of like, see how we can see it? How like it's kind of the same sort of deal? You know? Also, this is a horrible thumbnail, by the way. SpongeBob Diaries has to have some discretion on their thumbnails, because the AI makes horrible thumbnails. This is not a readable thumbnail. 2023. Look, it says 2023. Isn't that funny? Because AI, like, there's a weird thing with AI where AI thinks it's 2023. Remember the SpongeTruths? There was a SpongeTruths thumbnail that's 2023. Look, 1999 to 2023. I don't think this thumbnail was generated by AI, but I think, I don't know. I don't know. There's a weird thing with that. But like, this is a horrible thumbnail. This isn't readable. If you were looking at a phone, this is way too much text. Look at my thumbnails. Garbage. This works, this doesn't. Worthless. Pathetic. Not good. You put this much text on a thumbnail? What am I, reading a book here? I'm trying to watch a YouTube video, so I don't read. If I was going to read this much, I would pick up a book. Terrible. AI sucks. I get it. I appreciate the blunt feedback. AI could definitely miss the mark, especially with specific cartoons. All right.
Karen first appears in the season 1 episode, Plankton. She barely even feels like a character. She has no body, no personality, no real emotions. She's just as...
She so has a personality in Plankton. I will not tolerate this disrespect towards Karen voice actor Jill Tolley. I will not tolerate this disrespect, all right? That is so insulting. Karen has so much... Karen has like 4 lines in Plankton, and they are brimming with personality. She is supposed to be a computer assistant, so she's not Plankton's wife or she doesn't seem like she's Plankton's wife in the first episode, at least. She might have been intended to be Plankton's wife. Her name was always Karen. She is credited as... I did a lot of research into this. Karen is named Karen, and Karen is also... Karen Hillenberg is the wife of Steven Hillenberg. So, and that's why Karen is named Karen. Like, it's intentional. So Karen was always intended to be a wife, I'm pretty sure. But she might as well not be in Plankton. But she totally has personality. Like, you can even hear her being snide. Plankton. 1% evil, 99% hot gas. Like, it just has such a bite to it, you know, with like, it's so well delivered. It really is. So I reject SpongeBob Diaries saying that.
Like, it isn't just a failed restaurant. It's a monument to loneliness.
It's not this. It's this.
So what does he
It's
do?
a monument to loneliness. Not really. See how that's such a nothing statement? It's a monument to loneliness? Oh, it's just a failed restaurant.
Not a worker, not a calculator, someone.
Not a worker, not a calculator, someone.
That's where Karen
AI image? Of course it's an AI image.
really starts. She isn't built because Plankton needs superior tech.
Oh,
He needs a witness.
we got an AI animation there.
Built because Plankton needs superior tech. He needs a...
Just AI just wasting all the water. That was my impression of AI animating this.
That's exactly how AI companions are sold today. Not as tools, as someone who listens, replies instantly, never gets bored, never says, I'm busy, makes loneliness sting just...
Yeah, but that's not Karen, though. Like, that's literally not Karen. I actually said in my Is Karen AI video that a major distinction between Karen and like what we would understand as an AI girlfriend is that Karen consents to the relationship. Karen is able to say no to Plankton. Karen would have the power to divorce Plankton. This is seen in multiple episodes. Karen has left Plankton. There is a little bit of a contradiction with that. There is in Enemy in Law, Plankton turns off Karen, but also at the end of that episode, Karen blasts Plankton with a laser for doing that. So like, I guess even though Plankton could turn off Karen, there would be consequences to it because Karen has autonomy. So Karen is not the same. So that's kind of why I said that Karen is not AI in the way that we view her. So it's taking Karen and then it's saying this very real criticism of AI girlfriends, which is, yeah, an AI relationship is not only not a relationship because it's not a real person, but it's also not a relationship because a relationship requires consent. The fact that a person can reject you, the fact that a person could break up with you and chooses not to, is an important and necessary element of any relationship. And that is present with Plankton and Karen. And it's not present with the thing that they're comparing Plankton and Karen to. But it's not acknowledging that because that wouldn't fit its narrative.
But your body reacts as if someone actually heard you. Weird, right? That's the oldest trick in the book, and it still works. Plankton was already doing it in
The oldest trick in the book? Why would that be the oldest trick in the book? What book? Let's think of some really old tricks, all right? So you got the guy on the street with the cups and the pebble, and he tells you to bet on which cup is going to have the pebble. And while he's doing it, he really quickly switches the pebble so that you mess up and he gets to take the money. So that's a pretty old trick. So you're saying that the book that has that trick in it, that trick that they've been doing for thousands of years, you're saying that there's an even older book and that has the trick of make AI girlfriends? I don't believe you. I don't believe you, SpongeBob Diaries. I don't think that's the oldest trick in the book. I don't think it's a particularly old trick at all.
The episode isn't just about a computer being replaced. It's about a relationship treated like a device upgrade cycle.
Wait, that doesn't have anything to do with AI girlfriends, though. What does AI girlfriends have to do with replacing them? Because the point of Karen 2.0 is that you replace a person. Like, that's what it represents. It's not about AI, because AI girlfriends didn't exist when the episode came out. I mean, I guess you could have hypothetically discussed the possibility of an AI girlfriend, like the movie Her was before we had LLM, people having relationships with them. Like, you could have, but that's not what the episode is about. The episode is about not appreciating the person you're with, thinking that this newer, sleeker person is better when the person you're with has good qualities and also you made a commitment to the person you're with. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with AI girlfriends, because an AI girlfriend, like, okay, so like, let's say you accept the premise of someone having an AI girlfriend. The problem with a person having an AI girlfriend is not that they eventually replace the AI girlfriend with a newer model. Like, who cares if someone does that? It's bad that they had the AI girlfriend in the first place because that person is wasting their time on a fake companion instead of learning the necessary social skills to have a real companion. And this leads to broader social consequences. That's why an AI girlfriend is bad. That's why people shouldn't have AI girlfriends, even from a personal choice standpoint. It affects the whole world that such things exist. But upgrading it to one that is better is not a part of that. Because in order to criticize upgrading to a better AI girlfriend, you would have to accept the premise that an AI girlfriend would be okay in the first place. So I don't understand why you're using Karen 2.0 as an episode here. I'm so sad these people must be so lonely and unhappy. Yeah, I mean, with AI girlfriends, I don't really want to it's a very interesting conversation about the psyche. I think it's bad for anyone to have it. I think that there are no exceptions. People always try to find the exceptions. They try to find the carve out. They try to think that they're the exception. Don't fall for it. Don't listen to it. There is no exception. It's bad for everyone. But when I criticize something like AI girlfriends, my contempt is for the people who make them, not the people who use them. The people who use them are the victims. It's to say, it's like drugs. It's like, when you talk about like the issue with, drug addiction, your blame lies on people who sell drugs and people who are in charge of the system that aren't operating the system properly so that people can get off drugs. The actual users of the drugs are not the subject of my criticism when it comes to that argument. It just isn't. Now, interpersonally, if I knew a person who was on drugs, I would still interpersonally want them to not be on drugs, for sure. Absolutely. But like and there are arguments for why you shouldn't be on drugs interpersonally, and there's arguments for why you shouldn't have an AI girlfriend interpersonally. But like, I am not here to make fun of people who have AI girlfriends, because It is clearly, I mean, it's clearly a, like, I just couldn't. I couldn't in good conscience make fun of someone for that. Because I know that, like, it'd be like making fun of someone for having depression. Like, what am I, what joy would I get out of that? Like, it's, you know, I just, yeah.
But if the relationship depends on features, it is temporary because there's always going to be a better version.
So it's not, wait. So it's not criticizing the existence of AI girlfriends. It's criticizing that people want to upgrade AI girlfriends. That's actually the argument. Yeah, if you have an AI girlfriend, like, that's fine, but you can't upgrade to the next one because then you're betraying your original AI girlfriend. All right, to give it a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, it's saying that the relationship is about what?
But if the relationship depends on features, it is
If the relationship depends on features. Well, okay, like, but all relationships depend on features. It's just that the features of relationships we put on more of a pedestal, you know, like companionship or support, you know, of each other. Like, these are features, you know. They're not the same features as an AI girlfriend where they just do, you're my master, I'm here to serve you, you know, like, because you don't get the same thing. But all relationships are based on that you get something out of them. That's why you're in them. And, like, that's fine to understand, but, like, what you get out of them is, like, good things, you know, good, like, support and all that. And then you offer them to the other person because you respect that they're a person and that they have needs too. So it's, like, kind of trying to sound profound, like saying, like, oh, if relationships are only about features, it's about, like, getting the next best thing. And, like, that would be a problem that doesn't have much to do with AI. That would just be a problem, is that you're a bad partner because you're with someone, you get used to them, and then you want someone else because you're used to the person you're with. That is a personal flaw on yourself. Unless you're not monogamous, unless that's just who you are. I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life. Like, that's fine, you know. That's just not, I'm personally monogamous. So, like, I've been in a relationship for over 4 years. And I intend to be in the same relationship for the rest of my life. Like, that's just how I am. You know, I'm a monogamous person. So I'm only really speaking from that. So, like, if you're not a monogamous person, like, whatever. But, like, I mean, like, if you're someone who claims to be monogamous and then you're with someone and then you want, like, these other features later, like, that's just a personal flaw on your part that you need to address. But that doesn't have anything to do with AI. Like, like an AI relationship, a relationship with a real person, it's based on you want something out of it and you get it from the thing. It's just the difference is that an AI relationship gives you a false sense of that and a real relationship gives you a real sense of that. And that's what makes AI relationships bad and real relationships good. But the fact that they're based on features is irrelevant because they're the same.
She destroys Karen too.
Flanky.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird that in Karen 2, I almost talked about this in my AI is Karen AI video when I had a draft of it where I was going to talk about Karen 2 and I decided not to because it just didn't really fit with the video. But I do think it's odd. Another criticism I would have of this episode that is weird is that Karen 2.0 dies. Like, actually, like, dies. And, like, Squidward, like, wears the face. Like, it makes, like, a joke where, like, Squidward pretends to be a computer because it's, like, more advanced. Mr. Krabs is, like, being greedy. But I think, like, something that I think is weird about this episode is that the writers weren't really considering the sentience of the computer. Because if Karen 2.0 can die, then, like, she's dead. But, like, if Karen, the Karen we know, died in the same way, that would be, like, a character death. So it's weird that Karen 2.0 actually dies. I don't know. I just thought that I always thought that was odd that was how they ended the episode with Karen 2.0 being literally dead. Because by all means, she was as alive as any of the other characters, at least. And if she wasn't, then why would we care about Karen 1.0? Because that means that Karen 1.0 wasn't ever alive. This is weird. It's just a weird thing. It doesn't have anything to do with this discussion. It's just a weird thing I always thought about that episode.
People do this all the time with technology. They get scared when the machine goes missing, panic when the app crashes, and swear they will not take it for granted. Then the screen.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? People panic when the app crashes and swear that it's not real, bro. This doesn't have anything to do with the actual with that episode.
SpongeBob aired Lockdown for Love. Plankton and Karen are on a date in a heart-shaped hot air balloon. Then he spots the Krabby Patty formula on the ground below him, but his hands go straight through. None of it is real. The whole world is a simulation Karen created. In 1999, Plankton built a machine because he felt lonely. By 2020, the machine was building worlds around him to test his loyalty. Just consider how intense that progression is.
Wait, so saying that the AI, oh my God, is this? Of course, it's Terminator conspiracy nonsense. It's, I'm surprised how often this comes up. So there's like a common thing with like AI where we compare it to Terminator or The Matrix or these movies where the machines take over. You know, the machines are never going to rise up. It's not going to happen. There's not going to be a time where the AI girlfriends are going to take control of us and test our loyalty like Karen does in SpongeBob. It's not going to happen. This is why media literacy is important. What Terminator is trying to say as a movie is that we shouldn't let technology get out of hand. Not that technology is literally going to create time-traveling Terminators. Okay? That's never what the movie was trying to say. That's never what any science fiction movie... Well, not any. Some science fiction movies... For example, Her is a movie that is saying this could happen and we should be careful about it. But Terminator is not saying that. Terminator is using allegory. What are things in our world that could be as harmful as the Terminator, that could be as harmful as Skynet, that we aren't doing anything about? Like AI. AI destroying the arts and making the arts weaker and thus making the population more shallow and less empathetic. Because that's what the arts do. They promote deep thought. They promote empathy. That's the social function of the arts. It's not about just wasting your time staring at a screen with things moving. The amount of people that think it is that is alarming, but that's not what the arts are. AI damaging that, that's what Skynet represents. That is the danger. I'll give another one. Social media spreading misinformation and making the world worse. The spread of misinformation. There are people right now, children even, who are dead because of vaccine denial a few years ago. A lot of people who are dead because of vaccine denial. What allowed that vaccine denial? Unrestricted use of social media is why that spread. That killed people just as the Terminator killed people. It's just the way that people died in real life was less action-packed. But it means the same thing. Terminator happened. The thing, we looked at that movie and saw technology could get out of hand. And then we didn't listen. And then we allowed, just one example, vaccine denial to get spread through the internet, to get spread through technology. And then people actually died. They just didn't get killed by a Terminator. But they still got killed by the thing that Terminator was criticizing. So when you take that and you say it's a literal Terminator, or it's going to be a literal computer taking control of you, you obfuscate what it actually is. Because the point of media analysis, the point of this channel, or a channel like this, the point of a channel that provides commentary is that is where, like, the original work, the original Terminator, the Terminator movie, doesn't have to say what I just said. It is under no obligation to tell the audience, hey, the Terminator just represents technological progress gone wrong. The movie's under no obligation to tell you that. You should, it would mess up the movie. It would mess up the whole process. But when you as a analyzer, when you as someone who purports yourself as not just a reviewer, not just someone who is talking about the quality of the show, because you could talk about the Terminator and also not acknowledge that, and that's fine. You could just be talking about the quality of the movie. You could be saying the movie succeeds as a movie because of this, that, the pacing and all this technical stuff. And this is why modern movies need to do what Terminator did. Like, you could do that. That's fine. But if you're someone who purports yourself as, I am going to be a channel that's going to talk about how fiction intersects with reality, you need to understand that nuance. You need to point out that something like Karen represents an idea and is not showing something that is literally going to be an actual problem. But SpongeBob Diaries has no concept of any of that because they aren't intelligent enough to even know what that is. They didn't even write this script. AI did. AI doesn't understand that either because AI doesn't understand media literacy. It's not capable of doing so, and it will never be capable of doing so unless you actually made it alive, which we shouldn't do. That would be morally wrong. I don't think it's possible to make AI alive. I don't ever want to come off like I think that could happen because I don't. But I think there are people who will always believe that that's like something that could happen. So just for the sake of argument, I say it shouldn't exist. We would be morally wrong to do it anyway.
She sets the scene that decides what counts as love, and when he fails, she locks him in.
So that's not what that episode is about. That episode has nothing to do with AI or computers or technology. I haven't even seen this episode. I know what this episode is about. This episode is about how Plankton made a commitment to his wife, and he is so obsessed with the secret formula that he's not giving his wife attention, so his wife makes him be a better man. That is the episode. It is Plankton has a character flaw. He's a bad husband. Karen does a thing. Plankton has to face challenges. He becomes a good husband by the end of the episode. I think that's how the episode would end. Or maybe he fails and it's a mean-spirited ending. I don't know. I haven't seen the episode. That's all the story is. What they do is they take a SpongeBob episode and they take a social issue that is like so loosely related to the point where it really isn't. And then they will talk about the episode and then they'll talk about the social issue and the things won't even really connect. It's clearly just someone who thinks that people want to see SpongeBob, who thinks that people want to see social issues, and does not understand anything beyond that. They don't understand how obvious it is that their thumbnails are AI. They probably make them and they're like people genuinely like don't know that these are immediate AI tells. Like I'm sure that they put these out there and they don't even know that people can tell they're AI just by looking at them. Like I think that they could be that out of touch.